So here are a couple more questions to try. On the first one, we have 25 milligrams of copper. Notice that it's not milligrams per anything, it's just milligrams of copper. We're going to change it to cubic millimeters, and we're given the density in grams per cubic centimeter. So we're going to need to change the milligrams into this unit of mass, which is grams. So I'd put milligrams here and grams there. I'm not going to put the units in until the end of the problem. I meant to say I'm not going to put the numbers in until the end of the problem. I'll go ahead and put the units in now. All right, so I have right now grams on the numerator, so I need grams on the denominator, and I put the thing that is with grams in this density is cubic centimeters. Put that there. Now the question wants us to go to cubic millimeters. So you would put cubic centimeters on the bottom because always what's here goes down there. They always go opposite. You could put cubic millimeters on the top, but I'm going to assume that you don't know that relationship and just go to the base unit, which everybody should know, of cubic meters. Now if you do that, that just introduces another step. So you put cubic meters here, you put cubic millimeters on the top because that's what you're ultimately looking for. All right, we know that. Now we're going to go back and put the numbers in. You can see the milligrams will have canceled, grams will have canceled, cubic centimeters canceled, cubic meters cancel. We end up with cubic millimeters. Which is bigger, a gram or a milligram? So grams are bigger. Which is bigger? Oh, this one is not a big or smaller. You just go with the number they gave you. So you know that there are 8.9 grams equal to 1 cubic centimeter. Then we know that a cubic meter is 1,000,000 cubic centimeters. And remember the reason we know that, because of this cube, high quality cubic rendering here. So we know this is 1 meter, and it would also be 100 centimeters. But it's 100 this way, and 100 deep, and 100 tall. So it's 100 times 100 times 100, and that's how I get 1,000,000. By the same token, I've got 1,000 millimeters here. So 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000 makes 1,000,000,000 cubic millimeters. All right, so those are my relationships. Now we're ready to do the math. Looks to me like I could simplify it a little bit. I'm going to do that for sake of time. So this is 6 zeros, this is 3 zeros, total 9 zeros. 9 zeros. They cancel. So really you have 25 divided by 8.9. I'm doing that on a calculator as we speak, so it's 2.8. So the answer is 2.8 cubic millimeters. All right, that was number one. All right, second example. You've got 50 milligrams per kiloliter. Okay, we want to get rid of milligrams. I guess we could either do the numerator or the denominator first, but I've been doing the numerator first. So I put milligrams here. We want to go to micrograms, but you probably don't know micrograms to milligrams, but you should know milligrams to grams because that's on your things list. So milligrams would cancel. We'd have grams over kiloliters if I worked it out, but we want micrograms. So micrograms is on the things list with plain grams. So we know that 1 gram, is 1,000,000 micrograms. I wasn't going to put the units in and I forgot, or the numbers in and I forgot. So since I did that one, I'll go back and do this. And so 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. All right, now I have the numerator where I want it. Let's deal with the denominator. I know I need to get rid of kiloliters. I'll put them there. Put liters there because that's the base unit. You could put nanoliters here, but do you know how many nanoliters are in a kiloliter? I didn't know off the top of my head. Then we need to get rid of liters, so we put it up here, and then nanoliters down there. I do know that 1 liter is 1 billion nanoliters, and I know that 1 kiloliter is 1,000 liters. And for these numbers, you need to look at your things list. All right, so once again, I could simplify a little bit by doing some cancellations. So I could do this, and that was supposed to be, that was supposed to be 1,000 liters. So this, that, and that cancel that. So really I just have 50 divided by 1,000,000,000, which would be 50 times 10 to the negative 9th, which is also equal to 5 times 10 to the negative 8th. All right, now I haven't said anything about sig figs. On the first one, we were okay with sig figs because the density was given in 2 digits. Down here, I'm going to say something about sig figs. We've got you got 3 sig figs in the 50.0, so this really needs to be 5.00 times 10 to the negative 8th. And the unit, of course, would be micrograms per nanoliter. All right, last one. You've got 450 decigrams per kiloliter. So you want to change decigrams to centigrams first. What goes on the bottom? On the top? Then on the bottom? On the top. All right, we'll go ahead and put the relationships in for these. So which is bigger, a gram or a decigram? One goes with the big thing. There's 10 decigrams in a gram. Which is bigger, a gram or a centigram? There are 100 centigrams in a gram. Then we've dealt with our numerator. We now need to deal with the denominator. And you may remember in class I showed you that a liter is the same thing as a cubic decimeter. Remember I poured all the liquid from the 1 liter flask into that cubic decimeter box? So a liter and a cubic decimeter is the same thing. So therefore I would change kiloliters to liters. So I'd put kiloliters on top, liters on the bottom, which is bigger, kiloliter. Then I would put liters on top, or if you can know that a liter and a cubic decimeter are the same thing, I could put, well, let's just write it out. So you put a liter here, cubic decimeter here, it's 1 to 1. And then you can put cubic decimeter on top and cubic meter on the bottom. So going back to our little cube, remember that, if it's 1 meter on the side, it's also 10 decimeters on the side. So then you'd have 10 times 10, so 10 over, 10 up, and 10 down. So 10 over, whoops. I'm not sure, I just swirled something and that happened, just ignore this. All right, so 10 over, 10 up, and 10 wide. So 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. So the bottom line is you got 1,000 cubic decimeters equal to 1 cubic meter. All right, so now we're ready to do the math because all of our units that we don't want have canceled out. You see decigrams cancels here, grams cancels there, so I have centigrams on top, that's what I want. Kiloliters cancels over here, liters cancels here, cubic decimeters cancels here. I'm left with cubic meters on the bottom, and that's what I want. So now to actually do the math, we're going to have 45 times 100 times 1,000. So I guess this 1,000 and that 1,000 would cancel out. So then I would have 45 times 100 and then divide by 10. So it'll be 4,500 divided by 10, which is 450. And so the actual answer is the same number you started with, just different units. They were proportional. All right, so 450 centigrams per cubic meter would be our final answer. In terms of sig figs, we're good too because this number only has 2 sig figs, as does this number. All right, there you go. That's a little more practice. Hope that helps. See you tomorrow.